Hey, this is Mark with the Practical Still. We're going to open up another bottle. This one's, frankly, people have lost their minds over Blanton's last few years. It's a good whiskey to me. I've had it plenty. I don't buy it regularly anymore because it's hard to find it and it's hard to find it at retail. And it's worth, to me, it's worth retail, which frankly I think is around $50 or $55, maybe 60. But people are paying $85, $90, $100, $110 for plain old Blanton's. It is kind of fun. It was the first commercially available or widely available single barrel whiskey. It started in 1984. It was really built for the Japanese export market. And there in 1984, bourbon was hot. And this stuff sold for $120 a bottle in 1984, which is just mind-blowing. But the Japanese market ate it up. They also did other versions. They did a Blanton's Gold. They did a straight from the barrel. We're just now getting to have those in the States. But back then, this stuff sat on the shelf here in the States for $25 a bottle. And for years, that's just kind of the way it was. Nobody paid a lot of attention to it. But boy, they sure do now. Everybody wants Blanton's. Everybody collects the horses. The little topper's got a number on it. If you collect them all, it spells Blanton's. Whatever. But the whiskey's pretty good. I like Buffalo Trace whiskey. I can't remember if this is mash bill number 1 or number 2. I can't remember. But it's one of the only 2 mash bills that Buffalo Trace uses for bourbon. Oddly enough, the brand's actually, I believe, still owned by that Japanese company. So it's produced at Buffalo Trace or a Sazerac product, but I think the brand's actually still owned overseas. But anyway, people have lost their minds. No way would I pay more than, let's see, the most I've ever paid for Blanton's is $60, and that was probably this bottle. I've got 3 or 4 of them down there. One of them I've had for years. But I'll buy them at retail. I think they're good. They're single barrel, so they do vary. Buffalo Trace is pretty consistent in their single barrels. They do a pretty good job of that. But you got some cool information. So the dump date's kind of cool. Whiskey geeks like this because if you have a kid born on February 9th, you could buy a bottle with a February 9th dump date. And when that child turns 21, what a cool thing that'd be. I briefly looked around for the date that my daughter and son-in-law got married, but, that's just hard to find that stuff. And they're already of age, so no way we'd hang on to the whiskey too long anyway. But you get the warehouse number, the RIC number, which barrel it came from, and, of course, the proof. The proof's 93. Now, they have bottle wax. We know I don't like bottle wax, but they do have these cool little pull tabs. But if you're going to do bottle wax, that's how you do it. No offense to Maker's Mark, because that's their thing is bottle wax. But I grabbed the little plastic thing, I pulled around, off it came, the wax fell off in one piece, there's not wax everywhere, and the bottle is clean. If you gotta do bottle wax, that's how you do it. And then you grab the little horse and you open the bottle up. The bottle's absolutely cool. It's kind of a weird shape, little, multi-sided thing. It's good whiskey. I think so. Yeah, it's like apples and pears and let's see if this does it. Typically, look, I left a little from before. Typically, with a lot of the Buffalo Trace whiskey, I get this thing I kind of like. It's almost like a tea, like if you get an Earl Grey tea. It's got that kind of feel to it. And I like that, but let's see if this one does. Nose is way different out of a glass. When it's focused like that, you get more of the fruit. But just your delicious, typical, all the notes you want in a bourbon. It's vanillas and it's got the oak on it. Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm from the South originally, but it's got a tea feeling to it up front. Delicious flavor, great mouthfeel. Again, if you can buy those at anything around 60 or less, I think you're hard-pressed to get something at that quality around there. But to pay more for it or to lose your mind over Blanton's after decades of it sitting on shelves just seems kind of silly to me. In fact, often when I talk about other single barrel offerings, such as the Russell's Reserves, the rare breed, that's the barrel proof, the Kentucky Spirit, these guys, the old bottles, Even the Dickel Hand Selects that are store picks, and now there's a 15-year-old Dickel store pick floating around. It's around 94, 95 proof, I think. All those are available anytime you want them. In my humble opinion, they're as good or better than Blanton's. You can buy them anywhere from 50 to 60 bucks. There's just no way I'm chasing Blanton's around for that. But when I get a chance, like I oddly enough just got 3 chances here recently to buy Blanton's around retail, I'm not going to pass that up. It's delicious whiskey. And if you have friends that come over that are on the fringes of whiskey, they're going to ask you about Blanton's. They're going to say Pappy first, and then they're going to ask about Blanton's. So if you got one hanging around and it's open and you don't mind drinking it, that's always cool too. So kudos to Blanton's. I think it's delicious. I think the story's cool. I think it's a thing that prompted Jimmy Russell to start Kentucky Spirit a year later in 1985 and have it a Wild Turkey single barrel offering. So I'm happy for that. Delicious whiskey. Don't chase it. It isn't worth it. There's other options. But at retail, and if you have to live with bottle wax, they're doing a lot of things right in a cool looking bottle. Cheers.